So, this episode is sort of like when you have a really good movie that you like and they don't come out with a sequel until, I don't know, 18, 20 years later. That's like this. Um, Last time I did a video on this guitar and the pickups and stuff, I had short hair and a longer beard. And then after that, I had another kid, and then I grew out my hair, and now I've cut my hair again. So that's how long it's been. I don't know how long ago it was. 2021, I think it was. Something like that. So, anyways, I busted out my guitar. I never did a follow-up on what I was doing with the pickups. So, to go back, this is an LTD, boom, EC-401VF, which they don't make this model. The VF is sort of like the EC-1000 CTM. It's full thickness and 22 frets and no belly cut and no special cutaway here. So sort of more vintage. Maybe vintage flamed is what VF means. I'm not really sure. It came stock with Seymour Duncan JB59, which is a classic set. But I found that I didn't like them. The JB was really cool for the distorted tones. It's actually kind of one of the best middle ground high gain pickups, but I wasn't really doing any of that kind of stuff. And then the 59 was really muddy, really bassy, and despite it being more paffy, I couldn't get the Telecaster on steroids tones that the old school Les Paul humbuckers are known for. I couldn't get anything that was that great out of it unless you wanted woofy muddiness, right? So here we are. I went looking for pickups that were bright and would brighten up a thick mahogany guitar, if you believe in that kind of thing. I think tone wood it's mythologized. I would say that it's not exactly true, not exactly false. We won't get into all that today. So I discovered for a budget I could do GFS pickups. This is called the Dream 180. The Dream 90 was somewhat based off of the old DeArmond pickups, which is a pickup that comes from old Gretsch guitars. It's a single coil. This is like the split version, hence the 180. So think of it like P-Bass-ish style, where it's like a single coil that has been split into two. You know what? We're going to check out something live. Hold tight. Magnetic paper. Ah, look at that. So the cover of this pickup is a little bit of a lie. You see that? There's two coils all the way through. Same with that. Very interesting. You and me learned together today. So this is not coil and coil. They're two full coils. Maybe having the magnets hidden from the other sides makes a difference. I don't really know. But now we know. But this is a very bright sort of pickup. We're going to explore that right now. Oh, by the way, all the guitar tones are coming through this Line 6 Pod Express today that I have not used very much, so bear with me while I figure it out. I'm starting on the special setting here on the neck. I really dig that. We'll go to the bridge. This one is called the Dream 180. The Dream 90, similarly to the Surf, I hope I said that right. The Surf 90 is what the single coil of this is called. And then there was a Dream 90. So, There's a Dream 90 and a Surf 90. These are the 180 versions of both, which means that they are dual coil. So the Dream 180, they describe as being somewhere between a Filtertron and a PAF. So I wanted something that wasn't 16K, really spiky mid-range, super high output like the JB, but maybe a little bit more girth than one of these in case I wanted to do some distorted stuff. So this is the Dream 180 bridge. Sounds like this, playing the same thing. Pretty cool. I'm going to go to the totally clean amp. Let's and the neck. Let's do both. Sorry, I just turned on delay. I meant to turn down the bass. Okay, now bass is turned. Not bad. In the middle is a little woofy. Let's try it with the special. Special's better. The clean amp on the Pod Express is Fender based, so I'm not shocked that it would be super bass heavy. I think Fender designed their amps to run with Fender guitars, which would be like single coils, right? So then you have something like this and it's a little bit bassy. I wanted something more single coily sounding in the neck without having to do like a coil tap. Let's try this real quick. It does have a twang to it, for sure. For this to be a Les Paul style guitar and it be a neck humbucker. It has a chime, that's a better word. It's got a chime that I really, really dig. And the neck position of the stock pickup was just mud. So this is exactly what I'm looking for. And I didn't want to use, I have one of these for the bridge position, but I didn't want to use it because in the event that I do want to go heavy, which I'm going to go to the heavy model on this. In the event that I do want to go to the bridge, do some chugs, this is a better pickup for it. Yeah. Not bad at all for the chugs. Let me try the Crunch model, which is more Marshall-y, I think. It's definitely got that mid-range kind of punch. I don't even really know what to play. Let's do a... See if I can muster some kind of lead tone here. Bridge. can't remember how to play the rest of that. Sorry. Not bad at all. I feel like I maybe went a little heavy on the delay. Let me try analog delay. Let's try the dynamic amp. Alright, delay off, crunch. Let's see. Nope. I can't remember how to play it. Heavy amp. Here, I'm gonna add the bass back in. About halfway. Some spacey worship leads, neck pickup on the lead channel with a bunch of delay and reverb. Here we go. You hear that twang? Alright, going full on clean now. We'll add a little bit of reverb. Neck. Alright, I'm on clean, but I added some gain, so we'll see. That's on the neck, sounds really good. Let's try the bridge. Let's bring down the gain a little for the bridge pickup. I'm shocked how much the bass does. So turn that down, put that up. All right, here we go. Special. Alright, I'm feeling kind of inspired by this tone right now. I'm going to add a little bit more gain. A little bit of the plate reverb. And some chorus. Alright, this is an original called Not Here. We're going to do pretty much neck pickup only. This is the guitar dry. So as far as guitars go, you guys that have seen my channel know that I'm not primarily a guitar player. I did start on guitar with my friend Ben, and then when I went to buy my first instrument, it was a bass, because I was going to be a bass player. And then I didn't own a guitar until, golly, maybe 6, 7, 8 years later. I bought a cheap acoustic, learned some stuff on it, and then that was it. And then I went looking out for an electric, and I found an EC-401 like this, but with EMGs. I played it for a while, liked it. It was very heavy. It was just solid black. And then I saw this on the stupid deal of the day or something on Guitar Center or Musician's Friend. I can't remember. They discontinued this finish. It was $349, which is ridiculous when you consider modern day prices for this guitar. So I bought it because the Les Paul is my favorite shape, but I'm starting to veer toward liking the Telly shape a lot as well. So it's kind of tricky. And then as far as guitar sounds, I don't like thick, muddy guitar sounds, so you'd think that this guitar wouldn't be the right choice for me, but I think it's actually really great, especially with this pickup setup. Now, one thing I'm realizing is that with these two, the middle position doesn't do it for me. Maybe based on the settings that I was using, that could not be doing it service. But the neck is its own thing, and the bridge is its own thing. And you don't really want to crisscross them and mismatch them. What I'm trying to say is, for cleans, you pretty much always want to do the neck. And for distorted, you pretty much always want to do this. But distorted leads are fine on the neck. So when you have a heavy tone, either is fine. But when you're doing cleans, you're pretty much going to hang out here. I see the appeal of coil taps and stuff like that. But I've just never been the biggest fan of doing the actual coil taps. I've heard some guitars that sound really good with the coil taps, so maybe that could be a consideration for me in the future. But as it is, this guitar has just been collecting dust for a while. I wanted to bust it out today to talk about the pickups that I put in here. Again, just in case I messed up, the GFS Surf 180 and Dream 180. Surf 180, Dream 180. These are great. This is like a 9K, so medium-ish kind of output. And then this is like a 7K, so sort of a low output. They also describe this one as having Alnico 2 magnets, and this one Alnico 5. That can contribute to the sound as well. This guitar neck profile is incredible. One of the best guitar necks I've found, but it is sticky, high gloss finish, and it has the block heel. So I dig the profile. I do not like the finish. It doesn't slow me down because I'm not a shredder, but I would much prefer, if you look at all my basses, they are all maple neck satin finish, because that's my favorite. Maple neck satin finish. So yeah, that would be better than this, and the more modern ones have this different sort of swoop heel that looks really nice. So yeah, that's something to consider. Also, the thinner bodied belly cut ones are really ergonomic and cool. As I mentioned, this one was on closeout, so hence the purpose of me buying the 401VF. As far as Les Paul style guitars go, Gibson is awesome. I like Gibsons. I've played a couple of Gibsons from a couple of people that had them, and I've really enjoyed them. I like the profile a little bit more on the LTD stuff, or the ESP LTD stuff, and then ESP's more modern take on the body contours and stuff I like a little bit more as well. In case you haven't seen my other video on this, I fitted this with a Babbitt's bridge because I have individual string height on here, as opposed to the way that a Tune-o-matic, you have to just kind of lean it one way or the other. I tried this out. because I saved a lot of money on the guitar. I could go one way or the other. I think as long as I had a Tune-o-matic that had a roller or a less sharp edge. Graphtec makes a cool one that has like a Graphtec material for the part that the string actually goes over. And then I replaced the stock Grover tuners with the Grover locking ones that have the split post here. And essentially with a guitar pick, you lock it or unlock it on the front rather than the back. I thought these would be just drop in. They were, but they have a different screw position. So that's my only gripe with that. This is an amazing guitar. I play bass, so I'm used to heavy instruments. This thing is really heavy, like heavy as some of the basses. But again, I'm okay with that because of what I'm used to. I have never played a show with this or played standing up much with this. The first LTD I had, I did play standing up and stuff for a little while. I really couldn't say that it gave me much problems then, but I was in my 20s. Life is different now. So with guitar, I'm noticing I have a similar taste to how I do in bass, and that is that a strict flat out single coil like a Fender for either a Strat or a jazz bass I'm not the biggest fan of. But then like a fat humbucker like a T-Bird for bass, or I guess the equivalent for that would be like a high output, I don't know, JB or something like that for guitar, I'm not a fan of. So what I like lives in the middle. The middle ground where you have a lot of clarity. It's not overwound, but it's also not weak and thin sounding like a true single coil. So what I'm getting at is an underwound pickup like this neck pickup at 7K is amazing. My favorite guitar pickup I've ever heard was the Lambertones, the Krimas, which is incredible. Interesting options are like the DiMarzio humbucker from Hell, really bright and open and pretty cool for the neck position, but I didn't want to spend that kind of money, hence the GFS. Now, I did forget something that we should check out next time. Similarly to the other video I did for this guitar where I talked about the Seymour Duncans and how I was swapping out the JB for a custom 5. I also have this, you see it says Retrotron. So this is Filtertron style, but the size of a full humbucker. It also has their quick connect system. This is sort of like an aux cord, and it plugs in. And because I installed GFS in my guitar, that would mean that fitting this into the bridge position is as easy as taking out the pickup rings, plugging in the thing that's already installed in there, and then boom, there you go. So definitely would like to check this out. It's wound a little bit hotter than what I have in there. This is a 9.26K Liverpool vintage, as opposed to the Dream 180. But as I have come to find out, just because something is wound hotter doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be darker or less bright, since this is meant to be Filtertron in style. So definitely worth checking out as well. So maybe next time you see this guitar, 2 years from now, no, hopefully not, I can do a little bit of a shootout with this. I've heard some interesting videos of the several different GFS pickups, and they're cheap, they're affordable, they're really good quality for what they are, hence me having multiples of them that I'm not even using, just laying around, you know what I mean? And I've already decided if I were to buy another guitar in the future, I would have to go single coil direction. I like the PRS guitars that have the narrow filled pickups. Those are cool because that does what I'm talking about, where it's not weak like a single coil, it's not too fat like a humbucker. It's a humbucking single coil size. Also, I'm interested in the Fender Acoustasonic stuff. And I've never owned a real Fender. Acoustasonic would be my top pick for a Fender. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about my guitar and my terrible decision to take real Seymour Duncan pickups out of it and put in cheapy made in China pickups.